My fiancée live streamed her bachelorette party on camera. She sneered, "He's pathetic in bed. Should I even marry him?" While her friends laughed, I typed into the comments, "Don't bother." Then I sent the video to her dad and canceled the wedding. Seconds later, her maid of honor was calling me in panic. "Hey everyone, before we jump into today's video, I need your help. We've noticed the channel is losing some traction, and subscribing is one of the best ways you can support us. It's quick, free, and it helps us keep bringing you awesome content. Your support means the world. Let's keep this channel growing together. Thanks so much. Now, let's start the video. So, hey Reddit. My fiancée went live on Instagram during her bachelorette party. She started mocking me in front of hundreds of viewers, asking if she should even marry me while her friends laughed. She even bragged about hooking up with her coworker. I screen recorded everything and canceled the wedding. What followed was absolute chaos. This all happened about 4 months ago, and I'm finally ready to share the story. I, 30M, was engaged to Dora, 29F. We'd been engaged for 8 months, and I honestly thought we were solid. We lived like a normal couple, splitting bills, planning vacations, even arguing about whether we really needed the fancy paper towels from Costco. Thursday night, I was sitting at the kitchen table with my laptop open, about to pay the final $3,200 deposit to our wedding caterer. That's real money. I was being responsible, checking boxes on our color-coded wedding spreadsheet, feeling good about life. Then my phone buzzed. Dora is live on Instagram now. She was at some fancy Airbnb in the mountains with her friends for her bachelorette weekend. I figured it would be harmless fun. Mimosas, a silly sash, maybe some goofy games. I clicked into the live stream. Dora was right there, wearing the future Mrs. O'Brien sash. Her maid of honor, Lexi, clearly tipsy, was holding the camera. Over 200 people were watching. Dora's face was flushed, bottle in hand, while everyone laughed too hard at everything. Then Lexi slurred into the camera. Okay, real talk. You're getting locked down next month. How does it feel?" That's when things went sideways. Dora took a dramatic swig and said, "Damn's great. You know, he's so stable." The way she said stable like it was a disease was brutal. Her friends giggled, and she kept going. "He pays bills on time. His car is always clean. He remembers trash day." She listed my good qualities like they were flaws. Someone shouted, "But is he fun though?" Dora leaned into the camera with that smug look people get before saying something cruel. "He's a great provider," she said, using air quotes. "My parents love him, but God, he's so boring. You have no idea." Her friends laughed harder. "He tries so hard to impress me. He'll plan these big date nights all excited, and I'm just sitting there like..." She made an exaggerated yawn and the room erupted. Lexi piled on. "Didn't you say he still tucks his shirts into his jeans in 2024? "Oh my God, yes," Dora squealed. "And he checks himself in every mirror like, dude, the receding hairline isn't going anywhere." The girls were in tears laughing. Then came the knockout punch. Dora lowered her voice dramatically. "Don't even get me started about how boring he is in bed. He's so eager to please, but he has no idea what he's doing. I have to fake it every single time." The comments exploded. Laugh emojis, brutal messages, people tagging their friends. Lexi was laughing so hard she nearly dropped the phone. Dora looked straight at the camera, smug. "So, honestly guys, should I even marry him?" The room went wild. And then someone yelled, "What about Marcus?" Dora's eyes lit up. "Oh my God, Marcus," she squealed, her coworker from marketing. "I'd met him at company parties." Then, in front of 200+ viewers, she bragged about hooking up with him at a company retreat. She laughed while giving details. Her friends shrieked. Luckily, I'd already started screen recording. Instinct told me I'd need this proof. Meanwhile, my laptop still had the caterer's deposit screen open, and I sat there watching my fiancé confess to cheating and mocking me like I was the punchline of a joke. That's when something in me just clicked. The world went silent. I typed 2 words into the live chat from my main account with my face on it. Don't bother. Then I closed the app, saved the recording, and shut my laptop. I felt calm, not angry, just clear. I knew what I had to do. First, I messaged our wedding coordinator. Deborah, this is Damon O'Brien. Please consider this message my formal notification that I am canceling our wedding scheduled for October 12th. I understand the deposit is non-refundable. Please confirm receipt. Thank you. Then I copied our shared wedding spreadsheet to my personal drive, removed Dora's access, and locked her out of 4 months of planning. Petty. Maybe. Necessary. Absolutely. I emailed the caterer too, explaining the event was canceled, and I accepted the loss of deposits. About an hour later, Lexi called me, blowing up my phone. The same girl who held the camera while Dora trashed me. I ignored her. Then the texts came. Damien, call me now. WTF? What did you do? Dora just got an email from the venue. I stayed silent. I wasn't trying to hurt Dora. I was just answering her question. But by the next day, chaos hit. My phone exploded with missed calls, voicemails, and texts. Dora called me 53 times, cycling from confusion to anger to bargaining to full-on rage, like I had wronged her. Lexi texted too, calling me heartless. The irony. She even created a group chat called Supporting Dora, rallying mutual friends to paint me as the bad guy. My buddy Jake sent me screenshots. They were calling me fragile, dramatic, unreasonable. I ignored it all. Instead, I took care of unfinished business. Dora and Lexi's side hustle for wedding invitations and graphics had been running off my Canva and Adobe subscriptions. $80 a month on my dime. I changed the passwords and revoked access. If they wanted to keep running, they could pay their own bills. Same with our shared Amazon account. My card had been funding her random shopping. Logged out of all devices. Changed the password. Done. By Friday afternoon, Dora came home, dragging her suitcase, still in the same clothes from a live stream. She looked wrecked. You have 5 minutes to explain yourself, she snapped, trying to sound righteous. Her voice trembled with fake authority. I looked up from my book calmly. Explain what, Dora? You asked a question. I gave you an answer. Then I acted on that answer. It was a joke. I was having fun with my friends. It was my bachelorette party, Dora said, her voice climbing higher with each excuse. The volume just kept escalating, like if she yelled loud enough, reality would bend to her will. Was it a joke when you called me boring and mocked my appearance to hundreds of strangers? Or when you lied about me being desperate for validation while your friends laughed along? What about the detailed complaints about our intimate life? Was that all just harmless fun too? What about Marcus? Was that a joke too? Her face went pale. She had completely forgotten about the full extent of her performance. You were performing, Dora. You turned our entire relationship into entertainment for strangers. You humiliated me in ways I didn't even know were possible. And you forgot your most important audience member was watching. No, it's you who humiliated me, she shrieked. You commented for everyone to see. Then you called the venue. My phone exploded. Do you know how embarrassing that is? What am I supposed to say to people now? Oh, that must be very embarrassing, I said calmly. But you were the one broadcasting to hundreds of strangers. The humiliation started when you held up our relationship for public ridicule and confessed to cheating on me. I just ended the show. That seemed to break something in her brain. She just stood there, opening and closing her mouth like a fish, trying to find some new angle to make this my fault. That's when her phone started ringing. Lexi's name flashing on the screen. She answered immediately, putting it on speaker like she wanted backup. Dora, babe, where are you? Are you okay? Lexi's voice was dripping with fake concern. I'm at the apartment with Damien. He's being completely unreasonable. And I'm almost there, Lexi interrupted. I started recording on my phone. Something told me this was about to get messy, and I wanted evidence of whatever was coming next. 5 minutes later, there was aggressive pounding on my door. I opened it to find Lexi still in her pajamas, face flushed with righteous anger. "How dare you?" She exploded before I could even speak. "You completely humiliated Dora. Everyone's talking about it. You're a pathetic excuse for a man. Lexi, you need to leave my apartment now." But she shoved past me into the living room where Dora was sitting on the couch with tears streaming down her face, putting on her best victim act. "Look what you did to her," Lexi snapped. "She made one little joke and you destroyed her entire life. You canceled everything without even talking to her. What kind of psycho does that?" "The kind who doesn't appreciate being publicly mocked and cheated on," I said calmly, making sure my phone was still recording. "You were literally holding the camera while she tore me apart for entertainment." "Oh, get over yourself," Lexi scoffed. "You're acting like such a victim. Dora deserves so much better than some boring, insecure loser who can't take a joke. I'm asking you once more to leave my apartment before I call the police." She laughed, an ugly, mocking sound. "Call them. Tell them your feelings got hurt. Dora doesn't need a pathetic loser like you anyway. You did her a favor." Dora had been quiet until now, but then she stood with a dramatic sigh. "You're right, Lexi. I don't need this." She turned to me with pure disdain, then stormed into the bedroom. "You know what the sad part is?" Lexi said, glaring at me, her voice dripping with condescension. "Dora was actually going to marry you out of pity." "I see," I said evenly, still recording. Dora reappeared with an overnight bag, her face set like a wounded queen. "Come on, Lexi. Let's go somewhere I'm actually wanted." They headed for the door. Lexi shot me one last venomous look. "Don't get too happy. You haven't won. Dora has rights too. You know you deserve to be destroyed, and we will make sure of that. Lexi, next time you want to threaten someone, maybe don't do it on camera." I held up my phone, still recording. Her face went white as she realized what I'd captured. They left without another word, slamming the door behind them. Dora ended up staying at Lexi's that night, which honestly was a relief. The apartment felt peaceful for the first time in months. But the next morning brought a whole new level of crazy. My phone rang at 8 a.m. It was Dora's dad, Isaac. Now, Isaac's a good guy. Retired electrician. Built his own deck. The kind of dad who actually knows how to fix things. We'd always gotten along well. Damien. His voice was heavy. "What the hell is going on? Dora told me you had some kind of breakdown over her being silly at her party and canceled everything without warning." I could hear it in his voice. He was running off Dora's version of events, which I'm sure painted her as the innocent victim of my overreaction. "Isaac, that's not what happened at all. Do you have a few minutes? Because there's a lot more to this story." I explained everything. Isaac went quiet for a long time. You could practically hear him thinking. "Son," he said slowly, "that doesn't sound like the story Dora told me at all. She said she made a few jokes and you went nuclear on her. I figured she might spin it differently. That's why I recorded the whole thing. Would you like me to send it to you?" Another pause. "Send it over." I sent him the 15-minute recording. The worst part started around the 5-minute mark. He went silent again. "I'll call you back." About an hour later, my phone rang again. Isaac's voice was completely different now. Tired, but also furious in a way I'd never heard. "Jesus Christ. Damien. I'm so sorry. I had no idea she could be that cruel." The shame in his voice was unmistakable. "She told me you couldn't take a joke about being stable and boring. She didn't mention the bedroom stuff or mocking your appearance or that Marcus situation. And Lexi egging her on like that." He trailed off, disgusted. "I'm not telling you this to turn you against your daughter, Isaac. I just wanted you to know the full story." "No, son. I appreciate you showing me the truth. What Dora did, that wasn't just being dramatic or silly. That was deliberately cruel." His voice cracked. "I raised her better than that. Or at least I thought I did. I'm sorry you had to see it. Don't you apologize for her behavior. I'm the one who owes you an apology. and I'm going to have some very serious words with my daughter about what I just watched." After that, the conversation shifted. He wasn't just a tired dad caught in drama anymore. He was a man ashamed of what his daughter had done to someone he respected. "What happens now?" he asked. "We untangle our lives," I said. "That's all." But untangling was easier said than done. 2 days later, I sat down to play Call of Duty and realized something was missing. My PS4 controllers. And not just any controllers. 2 limited edition ones worth $200 each, plus my regular ones. Dora knew how much they meant to me. She had taken them when she packed Friday night. I wrote an email, this time copying Isaac. "Dora, I'm fine with you taking your belongings. However, I need my PS4 controllers returned immediately. All 4, including the 2 limited edition ones. These were not yours to take. They must be returned tomorrow. And regarding the apartment, your half of the rent, $1,100, is now 7 days overdue. As per our lease agreement, we are both legally responsible for the full amount. Failure to pay will hurt both our credit scores and may result in eviction proceedings. Please remit payment immediately or sign a lease release form with the landlord. Regards, Damien." The phone call came within 10 minutes. Dora was livid. "I can't believe you emailed my dad." "Hi, Dora," I said, putting her on speaker while making coffee. "Are you calling to tell me you've paid the rent? I'm not paying rent for a place I'm not living in. You kicked me out." "I didn't kick you out, Dora. You left after you torched our engagement. Our legal obligation to the landlord didn't leave with you. I'm protecting my credit score. You should be concerned about yours. This is so cruel. You're trying to ruin me." "No, I'm trying to pay my bills, something you once described as stable and boring. Turns out it's pretty important." I hung up and went back to my coffee. Amazing how peaceful mornings could be without someone treating basic adulting like it was a flaw. But I wasn't done with housekeeping yet. That screen recording of the live stream was still sitting on my phone. Dora worked at a mid-sized marketing firm with strict professional conduct policies. I uploaded the recording to Google Drive and thought about it for a few days. Part of me wanted to just delete it, but then I remembered her smug face, treating her infidelity like entertainment. So, I drafted an email to HR. "To whom it may concern, I am writing to bring to your attention a matter involving 2 of your employees, Dora Miller and Marcus Davis. I have video evidence of Ms. Miller publicly discussing inappropriate conduct between herself and Mr. Davis during a company retreat, which may violate professional conduct policies. The attached recording speaks for itself. Regards, Damon O'Brien." I attached the file and hit send. Sometimes consequences find you. The next phase of the circus. Dora's mother, Isabel, showed up at my door unannounced. Isabel is the classic Karen. Blonde highlights. Always wants to speak to the manager. Believes the world revolves around her daughter. She was practically shaking with indignation when I opened the door. "Damien Jonathan O'Brien," she began, using my full name like I was in trouble at school. "How dare you destroy my daughter's life? She's been crying for days because of what you did to her." I just stood there, leaning against my doorframe, letting her build up steam. She was just having fun with her friends, and you couldn't handle a little teasing. You're supposed to be a man. Real men don't throw tantrums over harmless jokes. And now she's homeless, living on someone's couch. All because you couldn't take a little criticism. You've ruined her reputation, cost her father thousands of dollars. And for what? Your fragile ego. I pulled out my phone and started dialing while she kept ranting. Dora was the best thing that ever happened to you, and you threw it all away because... "Hey, Isaac," I said into the phone, cutting her off mid-sentence. "Yeah, I'm good. Quick question though. Why is Isabel at my apartment harassing me right now?" Isabel's eyes went wide. The mention of her husband's name caught her completely off guard. Her mouth actually fell open. "Could you hold on 1 second? I asked Isaac, then looked at Isabel. "He wants to talk to you." I held out the phone. She took it with a confused look, like she couldn't figure out how her husband had just been dragged into this. "Hello, Isaac. I'm just trying to." That's when I heard it. Even from a foot away, Isaac's voice blasted through the phone, and he was furious. His voice was raised enough that I caught most of it. "Get your ass home right now. I told you to stay out of this. You have no idea what actually happened." Isabel's face shifted fast. Confusion, embarrassment, then stubborn defiance. "But Isaac, she's our daughter." More yelling from the phone. I caught fragments, saw the video, and embarrassed enough. Then nothing. Isabel kept trying to talk, still clinging to that entitled energy, even as her own husband was tearing into her. "I don't care what video you saw. I know my daughter." And then the line went dead. Isaac had hung up. Isabel stared at the phone for a second, then handed it back to me with a forced smile that fooled nobody. "Well," she said, trying to salvage some dignity, "I still think you overreacted." She turned and walked away, muttering under her breath about real men, and how no one understood what Dora was going through. I closed the door and went back to my coffee. Funny how quickly people change their tune when they realize they don't have backup. Meanwhile, the Support Dora group chat had turned into a salt mine of complaints about me. A couple of friends who weren't totally brainwashed sent me screenshots. The story they'd agreed on was that I was being cold and punitive. Cold and punitive for living my life and paying my bills, while Dora was the one who nuked our wedding on livestream. But the real entertainment came when Lexi decided to up the ante. She created a brand new group chat, this time including some of Dora's extended family and even a few people from her job. Her opening message was pure manipulation. "Hey everyone, as you may have heard, Damon had a massive unprovoked outburst and called off the wedding. Dora is obviously devastated. He completely overreacted to a silly joke she made at her bachelorette party and is now refusing to speak to her. We're all just trying to rally around her during this awful time." The responses were as dramatic as expected. "OMG, what happened? Sending love to Dora. What a psycho." I didn't even bother replying. Instead, I did some housekeeping. Remember that little business Dora and Lexi were running? The one piggybacking off my software subscriptions? Well, apparently they had a few client projects in progress, all due that week. Projects they suddenly couldn't finish because they no longer had access to the design software. My phone started blowing up with increasingly frantic messages from Lexi. "You need to give us access back to Canva. We have deadlines. This is affecting our clients. You're being vindictive." I blocked her number. Not my circus. Not my monkeys. Still, the controller situation bugged me more than all of it. Those weren't just any controllers. They were limited edition, ridiculously expensive, and she'd taken them just to spite me. Petty theft, plain and simple. Isaac called me later that week, his voice heavy with exhaustion, the kind that comes from dealing with non-stop drama. "About the controllers, son," he said. "I'll make sure you get them back." "I appreciate that, Isaac. She had no right to take them. Let's meet, all three of us. Sort this out like adults." I thought about it. Part of me wanted to just walk away, let her keep them to avoid the circus. But nope. I was getting my controllers back. On principle. "Okay," I said. "But I'm not negotiating anything except getting my stuff back and settling the financials. Everything else is done." "Understood. I'll set it up." The meeting was at a downtown diner. Neutral ground, Isaac's idea. Honestly, it felt like a hostage negotiation, which I guess it kind of was. Dora showed up looking like she'd been living in sweatpants for a week, which she probably had. Her eyes were red and puffy, and she wore this wounded expression that might have worked on her dad, but it did nothing for me. Isaac looked like he'd aged 5 years in 2 weeks. Parenting a 29-year-old who acted like a teenager in permanent crisis mode was clearly grinding him down. He skipped small talk. First thing, he slid a bag across the table. Inside were my controllers. "These are yours," he said. Dora flinched but kept her eyes on her coffee. "I don't know why this is such a big deal. They're just..." "Dora." Isaac's voice was sharp. Not another word. I checked the bag. All 4 controllers were there, including my limited editions. Relief hit instantly. I slid the bag under the table without a word. Now the rent, Isaac continued, pulling out a piece of paper like he'd rehearsed this. I've sent you the $2,100 for last month's rent. I also spoke to your landlord and paid the fee to have Dora's name removed from the lease. Well, that's just great, Dora muttered. Now I'm homeless because he couldn't take a. Dora, I said. Enough, Isaac cut in, his tone carrying pure parental exhaustion. He turned to his daughter. This is the last time. The absolute last time I bail you out of a mess you made. Dora mumbled something that sounded like it was my fault too, but Isaac shut it down. Then came the last topic. Wedding costs. This was the part Dora had been waiting for. The chance to play financial victim. We need to sort out the rest of the wedding expenses, Isaac said. It's simple, I replied, pulling out my own list. You and Dora paid for her dress and the invitations. I paid the non-refundable deposits for the band, caterer, photographer, and the full cost of our honeymoon to Italy. I also bought the engagement ring. Finally, Dora spoke, her voice dripping venom. So you're going to pay me back for the dress, right? I can't return it. I almost laughed. Absolutely not. Sell it or burn it. I don't care. As for my losses, I'll be selling the engagement ring to recoup some of the honeymoon cost. Her head snapped up, eyes blazing. You're going to sell the ring after everything it was supposed to. Dora, stop. Isaac cut her off before she could spin it further. I leaned in, keeping my tone calm. It was supposed to mean we were building a life together. You didn't just question marrying me. You tore apart every part of our relationship for laughs. Dora opened her mouth, but Isaac raised his hand. That's enough. From both of you. Damien, that's more than fair. The finality in my voice seemed to hit her harder than anything else I'd said. There was nothing left to argue about. Isaac nodded slowly. That's fair, son. We finished our coffee in silence and left. I never spoke to Dora again. It's been 4 months now, and the dust has finally settled. The apartment feels like mine again. Clean, quiet, stable. Yeah, stable. I've started embracing that word, the same one Dora used to treat like a curse. I've pieced together the aftermath through the occasional text from mutual friends and the social media grapevine. And honestly, it's been better than any Netflix series. Dora's situation went from bad to worse pretty fast. First, Isaac cut her off financially. Completely. No more daddy's credit card, no more bailouts, no more safety net. Word is he told her she was an adult making adult decisions, so she could live with adult consequences. Watching that live stream recording apparently opened his eyes to what his daughter had really become. Then things got even more interesting. Dora and Lexi had a massive blowout fight. Dora blamed Lexi for everything. For going live, for encouraging her, for making her say all those things. Lexi wasn't having it. She told Dora she was done being her scapegoat and unpaid therapist. Then she kicked Dora out of her apartment, leaving her scrambling for somewhere else to live. Now Dora's couch surfing from one friend to the next, wearing out her welcome one living room at a time. Lexi signed up to be the fun-time maid of honor, not a full-time therapist for a bitter, broke roommate who treated her place like a crash pad and blamed her for her own mistakes. Speaking of jobs, remember that email I sent to Dora's company? HR takes video evidence of employees confessing to workplace misconduct very seriously. Dora and Marcus were both fired within a week. The company retreat incident was already on their radar after a few complaints, and my recording gave them the proof they needed. Dora had to scramble for a new job and ended up in customer service at an insurance company. From what I hear, she absolutely hates it. Marcus apparently bailed on her, blamed her for costing him his job, and moved back in with his parents in Ohio. Beautiful. She tells people I ruined her life, which is hilarious in a cosmic justice kind of way. I didn't ruin her life. I just stopped subsidizing it and let her face the consequences of her own choices. Turns out when you take away the financial safety net of a stable partner, lose your job for workplace misconduct, get cut off by your parents, and burn bridges with your friends, reality hits hard. Lexi's reputation took a hit too. The live stream got screen recorded by multiple people and circulated around our social circle. She's no longer seen as the hilarious life of the party type, but as the mean girl instigator who encouraged her best friend to blow up her own future. Blocked. That's what I did. Dora, Lexi, and Isabel. Everything. Social media, phone, email. Full digital exorcism. Isaac still checks in on me sometimes. He never brings up anything about his daughter, but we respect each other, and he still treats me like a son. 3 weeks ago, we grabbed drinks and talked about work. Last week, I booked a flight to Italy. Remember that honeymoon we were supposed to take? I'm going solo. As for the ring, I sold it and got a decent price. Lost money overall, sure, but I gained something worth far more. Peace of mind. Oh, and I used some of the cash for a new lit gaming monitor. The Asus VG249Q1A, aka the 24-inch weapon of choice. 165 Hz refresh rate, 1 millisecond response time, IPS panel with colors that hit like a punch to the face, and zero lag. Clean, sharp, built for domination. Best breakup W I've ever scored.